ground, as well as treating them very unfairly. That's why we fought so strongly against extending to 42 days and 90 days, because we felt it was the wrong thing to do. Now, what I would say, I mean, I'm very clear in my view that we have to do the right thing for the majority of the Muslim community, the vast, vast, vast majority of the Muslim community, who are tarnished by the actions of a minority and are the victims of prejudice as a result. It is in their interests that we take action if we believe that small minority are going to commit an attack or an activity that will reflect badly on the whole Muslim community. It's in their interest that we do that. But how we handle that and how we talk and how we behave, you know, if police do make an arrest, I think the big lesson I took from what happened a few weeks ago is that that part was completely wrongly handled, that actually politicians should not have talked openly about what had taken place, shouldn't have started to make comments about potential attacks, and should have operated on the basis that people arrested are innocent until proven guilty, and therefore you shouldn't talk about what's happened.
Right. Because we are talking to the shadow Home Secretary, Chris Grayling MP, who represents the Conservative Party. We're of course talking not just about the issues facing the Muslim community and the Pakistani community living in Britain, but in the next part of the program we'll focus more about the relations between Britain and Pakistan after this very short break. Welcome back, viewers, to Insight with Javed Malik. I'm talking to Chris Grayling MP, who is a Member of Parliament from the Conservative Party and also a shadow Home Secretary. Now, in Britain, you have the government and you also have a government in waiting, which is a shadow government or a shadow cabinet. And they do have their own spokesmen who refer to various responsibilities. And it is always, not always, but there's a likelihood that the person, when they come into government, will take that role. Today we are speaking to Chris Grayling. As I said, he's a representative on the Home Affairs, which is the Home Secretary. And we'll talk not just about the Home Affairs, we'll also talk about the relations with Pakistan, because a large number of the community living here. And it's said by the analysts that in the next election, the community vote, the way that community votes, will have an impact on the way the results translate in certain marginal seats too. So, Mr. Grayling, I'll talk about the relations Britain has with Pakistan. Now, of course, the relations go back historically, right from the time of independence, 1947, you know, and then one issue that is left unresolved is the Kashmir issue. Now, many people or many analysts feel that Britain has a moral responsibility to play a role in resolving that dispute between India and Pakistan so that region can progress towards peace. What is your view on that and how the Conservative Party deal with it?
I think we should always seek, where we can influence, to be brokers of solutions to political disputes. I think, you know, the reality is we all aspire to a situation where these disputes are resolved, where nations live side by side in harmony. That said, it's often easier said than done. I mean, if you look at another example that's been very much in the news recently, the civil war in Sri Lanka, where members of the Tamil community have argued exactly the same point to us, that we should be seeking to use that historic influence to broker solutions. The truth is, for a small nation from a long way away, it's a lot more difficult to deliver change, to influence change, to encourage political solutions.
Maybe geographically you may be a small nation, but Great Britain has still a place in the world, superpower.
And we seek to influence where we can, but I think we also have to be realistic and say we can be brokers for good, we can try and facilitate discussion and debate, but sadly the ability to actually do more and kind of force solutions, I think, is something where you have to look to the international community working together to deliver change.
Many people, the way when they speak of Britain's role in the Kashmir issue is primarily democracy. They say, well, democratically, people have a right to choose, and if the Kashmiri people have they have a choice to accede to Pakistan or to be independent, they should be given that choice. That's all that is being sought. It's not something which is unrealistic expectation. Why couldn't the Conservative Party be very clear on that?
Well, I think that the danger you have, if you are in a position where you can be a broker of change, if you take one side or the other, the Palestine-Israeli situation is another case in point, where I've argued consistently that we should not seek to take one side or the other, that we should not seek to argue that the Israelis are wrong, that the Palestinians are wrong, or the other way round. That we should seek to be honest brokers, we should seek to avoid taking a partisan stance, and we should seek to encourage dialogue. The only way that the Kashmiri situation will ever be resolved is if the Indian government and the Pakistani government sit down around a table and resolve it. And the only way we'll get to that point is if relations between the two countries improve, if tensions reduce, and I think we can be more of a force for good by trying to help that process happen than we can if we were to take a side and say, well, Kashmir must be moved into Pakistan, or Kashmir must never change its status. I think we should seek to be arbiters rather than partisans.
Right. Viewers, you will also be aware that Prime Minister Gordon Brown has visited Pakistan in the last few months more than once, and Mr. David Miliband, the Foreign Secretary, is a regular visitor. He keeps visiting very frequently, and so does the Pakistani officials. Britain and Pakistan share a very common objective in terms of world peace. We'll see how the Conservative Party views that. Pakistan, according to many analysts, has been a victim when it comes to the war on terror. It took the frontline role after 9/11, and then successively over the period of time was battered, and now you see you lost a very big leader, Benazir Bhutto, to terrorism. You had bomb blasts going on in Pakistan just because it is standing by the world community in condemning the terror, and is becoming a victim as a consequence. Do you think Britain has a sort of there is some realization, but I'm asking from the Conservative Party's point of view, to support Pakistan as in sort of fighting this war, and also economically in other ways that it can sustain itself?
Oh, I very strongly believe that we need to work together with the Pakistani government, that we need to find ways of encouraging economic development, that we need to support the Pakistani government in combating terror. I don't believe that the terrorism we've seen in Pakistan in recent times is in any way, shape or form the will of the Pakistani people. The Pakistani people are a peaceful, cultured nation who have an important role to play in the international community. And I think the idea that they want to see what's happened any more than we do is nonsensical. So yes, we should have a partnership. We shouldn't seek to dictate. Pakistan is a sovereign nation, but we should seek to be friends of Pakistan. We should seek to stand alongside Pakistan in its battle against the troubles it faces. We should seek to encourage and support those who try to restore peace and stability to those parts of Pakistani society that have not had that in recent times.
There's been obviously an effort which was referred to as the Friends of Pakistan, and Britain has been playing a very central role in that. If the Conservative Party comes into government, do you think that you will continue that support to this Friends of Pakistan group?
I've no doubt that we will. I wouldn't want to kind of specifically pick out an individual group to say that's what we would do, but we will certainly pursue policies, continue policies that foster friendship with Pakistan. David Cameron's visited Pakistan, William Hague has visited Pakistan. I expect that to continue. I expect the discussions to continue and the partnerships to continue. And it will continue on different levels as well. I mean, if I'm Home Secretary, we face quite a big challenge in addressing the issue, for example, of visa applications between between Pakistan and the UK, where there are, for entirely understandable reasons, very many people in Pakistan who would like to come to the UK. It's right that we should have a system that is fair and transparent, that actually challenges people's applications to make sure they're legitimate, but actually in doing so, if we have a firm system, it will be easier for there to be interchange between families in Pakistan and in the UK. And I see partnership between ourselves and the Pakistani government to make sure the system is fair and properly managed, and that it's not subject to abuse, as being an important part of how we build a relationship with Pakistan at the level I would be working in if we're in government.
And of course, if you're in government and you are the Home Secretary, of course, you will be looking at many areas. One of them will also be immigration. Immigration is a very important issue which relates to the communities, the minority communities, family relations, students, whatever. So do you think that now recently we've been hearing about various there have been various new checks and balances that have been introduced, and understandably so in terms of the world climate. If you look at there's some proposals of having 3 types of passports, a probationary British passport. Do you think this steers within the